Playing the social game is extremely exhausting, and I'm realizing that I have been playing it for most of my life, probably like you, because we've all been indoctrinated into it, and I just really have no desire to do it anymore. And I've been thinking about the ways in which I compromise myself in order to play it. And it's kind of frustrating to me because I'm like, why am I doing this if I don't like it? And one of the ways that I play this game is that I end up doing things that I don't want to do. It could be going out when I don't really want to go out. It could be watching a show with other people because I already agreed to it when I don't want to watch it anymore. And speaking of that specific instance, this is why yesterday I decided I wasn't going to watch Love Island anymore, because I'm like, why am I watching this show if, one, I don't aspire to be like any of the people on this show?
Yeah, immediately no. Immediately no. Immediately no. Like instantly, I was like, yeah, no. That was my thought.
Two, it's completely a waste of time and kind of starts to erode on this idea that I've had of relationships, which I think is pretty healthy. But a lot of what we see on social media, a lot of these dating shows, I think they're not the healthiest example of relationships and of looking for love, searching for love, but more so, we should be attracting love as opposed to going out and trying to will it into existence. And you really have to start with loving yourself and being magnetic to the point where people are attracted to you, right? That whole I don't chase, I attract. I think there's a lot to that. And we could really apply that to anything: jobs, friendships, like literally anything. When you become a magnet for things in your life, as opposed to trying to trick things into coming into your orbit, it's just so much better. And I personally don't really like chasing things. I don't like the idea of trying to contort myself and make myself seem palatable to the masses, palatable to whatever it is that I'm trying to get in my life. Because if you have to do that in the first place, then it's probably not for you, right?
She's got a point.
And it's like, why have we taught people that they have to do that? Like, oh, you're not good enough as you are, so you're going to have to act this way so that you can have this person in your life, so that you can have that job in your life. But it's like, what if, eureka moment, that thing, that person is not for you?
How convenient is that? Wow, how convenient is fucking that?
And I'm really coming to terms with this in my own life. And it's very much a hard pill to swallow because it goes counterintuitive to everything that I've been taught, maybe everything that you've been taught. And I've been having a bit of an identity crisis. I won't lie to you. I have been recovering from a cold, which I randomly got in June. Like, I literally never get sick. So whenever things like this do happen, I know it's signaling me to actually look deeper into myself and think about the things that I need to purge, the things that I need to integrate so that I can fully step into whatever way of being I'm supposed to be. Because again, for most of my life, I think I have clung to these different habits that haven't necessarily been good because I've seen other people do them and because it seems to be acceptable. So I remember the first time that I drank, I was 15, I want to say, and I drank to fit in, just like everybody does. Let's be real here, but let's not lie. Let's not lie at all.
And
I drank for the first time to fit in. And I remember when I was in 10th grade, I was at a Halloween party and I got shit-faced, okay? I was very drunk. And then for a little bit, people knew me as the person who got super drunk at that Halloween party, and like, it was so cool and all that. And for once in my life, I kind of felt cool because I was doing what other people were doing, even though I don't like the taste of alcohol. Alcohol honestly has never really jived well with my system, and yet I did it because it enabled me to fit in with my peers, Fast forward, the first time that I ever smoked weed was when I was 15, but I hated it. So I was like, oh my God, I don't understand why people do this, whatever. Fast forward to my summer before junior year, I smoked another few times with fellow camp counselors because I was a camp counselor at this time. And I was starting to kind of be okay with it. But it wasn't until I was a senior in high school where I really took on the mantle of pothead, okay? And this is when I would smoke a lot during senior year. All of my friends, we were known as like the potheads and all of this. And that became my identity for a really long time, okay? It's only more recently that I actually started to shed this identity, and where I've recognized that the reason why I started smoking was, yes, because I wanted to fit in, but two, I was also wanting to escape feelings that I had inside with regard to myself and my place in the world. And it was easier for me to be high than it was to actually deal with my issues. And I'm sure a lot of people feel that, a lot of people drink because they don't want to deal with their issues. They'd much rather numb them. And there is this culture in America specifically of numbing oneself instead of looking at one's problems head on and dealing with them. And this is part of that social game, okay? We all act like, oh my God, I love to get lit. I love to go out. Yeah, let me do my little gardening. And it's like, why are you really doing it? Get to the bottom of why you're really doing it. And a lot of people don't want to be honest with themselves about that. A few months back, I quit vaping. I'm so proud of myself because I feel like everybody around me, all of my siblings vape. And I was able to just one day say, I'm not doing this anymore. And it was really because I came to terms with the fact that vaping is, one, disgusting, two, a waste of money, and three, you might feel something initially, but after that, you're like, wow, this is terrible. I just have this weird tasting thing in my mouth. And I'm just constantly doing this when I feel an iota of boredom while I'm sitting in my room, while I'm anywhere, while I'm outside. I couldn't qualify doing it anymore. It just felt wrong. And I'm on this health journey as well. So I'm like, why would I be wrecking my lungs? I'm paying to wreck my lungs. When I'm on this health journey, I'm eating better, I'm working out more often. Why would I do this? It just didn't make sense to me. And I think sometimes you do have to bring logic into things when you're making a change in your life, because if the logic doesn't make sense and you are a more logic leaning person, then it's kind of easy to let it go. And I think that's what happened to me. And I literally have not looked back. And I feel like that's what's going to happen when it comes to the smoking. I think drinking, I'm not a big drinker. So if I go to a party like this past weekend, I went to my cousin's 30th birthday party, and yeah, I had a few drinks, but I feel like that's fine because I was at a party. It wasn't like I was sitting at my house on a Monday night or a Tuesday night, just knocking back drinks. I don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. And I think when you can be honest with yourself about the habits that you have and why you have them, it makes it much easier for you to snap in the moment and be like, it doesn't even make sense for me to do this, right? And that is, again, part of this social game, because if everybody around you is doing something and you want to feel a part of what's going on, you're naturally going to do it. I mean, when I think about when I was younger and way more impressionable and very insecure, I did a lot of things that I probably shouldn't have done because I wanted to fit in.
It's a disgrace.
I mean, for God's sake, one of the times when I was maybe, how old was I? I think I was 20, 21. I had really dabbled in, actually, it might have been younger than that. It might have been 19, 20. I really dabbled in some recreational drugs because I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. The people that I'm friends with, druggies, were doing this, so I should try it too. And I think that's why it's so important about the company that you keep, okay? Because the company that you keep can get you into some deep doo-doo, okay?
Not a joke, just a fact.
Some deep doo-doo. And I'm so grateful that I never got into a situation that was really bad, where I had a bad batch or anything like that. But, you know, I definitely had my fair share of experiences that I probably would have never had I not been surrounded by certain people and had I not been trying to fit in, okay? And this period of life, or this phase of life that I'm going through right now, is very lonely, because in a lot of ways it feels like I'm coming back to myself and peeling off all the layers that I put on over the years in order to play this social game. And it feels very isolating, because I'm recognizing that a lot of the people that I have mainly felt like I had to play this social game with, specifically family, I'm realizing that I'm not really like them.
No, it's true. It's true.
And I think that's okay. I think so often we assume that because we share blood with people, we are like them and that they know us best. But if they don't even know themselves best, you can't take what they say seriously, okay? You have to take it with a grain of salt, because you may come into a family and you're supposed to be the black sheep who goes off and does something completely different from them. But if you're too heavily identified with this family bond, then it's going to be very difficult for you to break off from the pack, because you have this pressure that is self-imposed, where you say to yourself, oh, they know me best, I'm supposed to be like them. But if deep down everything that you're doing in your life doesn't feel like it resonates, well, then maybe you're not like them as much as you thought, and maybe it's time for you to go on your own journey.
Whoever you are, thank you.
And I'm at the point in my life now where, for so many years, as I've started to venture off on my own journey that split away from these family members, I would feel bad about the fact that I was pulling away from the group, because they're my tribe. Your family feels like your tribe. You don't want to be the outcast from the tribe, because then who do you have?
Wow, that's a great question.
And whenever I would see myself progressing, I would self-sabotage, because I'm like, oh, wait, no, I have to fit in. Like, what? They're telling me I'm crazy. They're telling me, like, I've changed this and that. And it's like, I used to take that personally when people would say, oh, you've changed, like, da-da-da-da-da. But we should change. We should grow. We should evolve. And if people are making you feel guilty for that very fact, that human nature and the way of the universe is literally to evolve, then maybe, just maybe, people around you are feeling some type of way, because you're reflecting back to them that they could choose to change as well, but they are choosing not to. And you are this force that they can't escape. So they say these little snide comments, not to be mean, maybe some, but I think for the most part, it's not to be mean, but it's more so to be like, hey, what's going on here? You're rocking the boat. No one's supposed to rock the boat. And I am just very much done with that. Like, I can't lie to myself anymore. You know what I mean? And maybe you shouldn't lie to yourself either. If it feels like you're doing all of this to be able to say that you're in your tribe and you're just like your tribe and you're sticking to the way that things have always been done, but the way that things have always been done haven't been super great. Yeah, maybe there's some positives to doing things that way, but maybe there's a lot more negatives to doing things that way. And maybe there's a lot more positives to doing things in a different way. But you have to overcome this fear of being seen, this fear of judgment from your tribe, this fear of abandoning yourself to fit in with others, to play this social game in order to truly come into yourself. And as I come into myself, I'm recognizing that no one else is like myself. And maybe you'll recognize that no one else is like you as well. And that's a great thing, because we're not supposed to be like other people. We're supposed to be like us and only us. And that's why I think it's so weird that we come into this society and we're taught to abide by these social norms and play this social game, when in all honesty, the people who make a real impact in the world are the ones who decide to step out on faith and be themselves. It's an act of courage to be yourself. It's an act of courage to create your own path. And I'm thinking right now about that Robert Frost poem where it's like, two roads diverged in a yellow wood. I might be messing it up a little bit. And I took the path that was less traveled, right? The path that was not perfectly cleared out. The path that no one had come back from and said, oh, it's safe. The path that is a bit scary. It's a bit daunting. It's unassuming. You don't know what's going to happen. But I think when you can follow that path, when you can buck social convention, when you can do the thing that no one else has chosen to do because they were not the ones to do it, then that's when you start to really create a life that is for you and only you. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to live a life that fits most people. I want to live a life that fits me and only me, that has been specially made for me.
Period, sis.
And I have been so afraid to do this for so long, but I'm at my wit's end and I can't go on this life any longer trying to play this social game. And maybe you feel the same way. So if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.